All right, I'm back with the Footy Hangover. Another episode. Man United just lost 3-0 against Man City. It wasn't a good time at all, and it is a major hangover from this weekend of games. I was really happy watching. Started out really well on Saturday. Watched a few games. Inter Juventus. There were just a couple of really good games there. Inter that was like a 4-3 thriller, a bunch of shots outside the box. It was a really good time. And then the Sunday morning, woke up early, had my coffee, went to the back of my attic and looked out and found this shirt right here, 2010 Man United, gigs on the back. Feel any sort of hopefulness, anything good about Amorim, anything good whatsoever, to be honest with you. It's been a bit bad. The system does not seem to work. The subs don't seem to work. And at this point, it just kind of feels like he's begging to get fired, right? He's hunting for that severance package. He's hoping for that big Mourinho / Ten Hag payout. And I blame him. I can't blame him. You know what I mean? Like I probably wouldn't quit either if I had that sort of money on the table. But then at the end of the table, it's my club that's at stake here, and he's been doing real bad. It's almost like he's on purpose freaking it up right now for us. He really is. It's not good. We got Bruno Fernandes still playing as a deep lying playmaker, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. He's been listen, I chose to make this podcast like the day after the game, right? I could have just made it yesterday. It could have just been a huge big rant for 45 minutes. It could have been like a Mark Goldbridge type thing. Instead, I chose to do it, like on a much clearer head, do it on a Monday morning. I gotta say, I'm not much happier about the result or the performance now after like a good 10 hours of sleep. It just wasn't good at all. It just wasn't good at all. And there were a few good games, like I said, but now I'm gonna get into Man United, Man City for at first, just because it makes sense. I'm really disappointed. It was the biggest game of the weekend, despite Inter Juventus. I mean, people care about the Serie A, but it doesn't even get close to the Prem. And what happened wasn't good. Holland scored 2 past us. Foden finally found his stride playing against us. Good for him. Well, what are you going to do about it? I saw Amorim after the game. He said it's not going to change. I saw Amorim after the game. He said it's not going to change, and that's fair to him. Jesus fucking Christ! Cut. I saw Amorim after the game. Said it's not going to change, and kudos to him sticking to his guns. I guess it just at this point it just kind of feels like plays a football manager before actually getting on to coaching one of the biggest clubs in the world, probably the biggest club in the world, right? Because it's just like if your tactic doesn't work, then at some point you got to adapt and choose a different tactic, choose some different players. It just seems like he's willing to die on this hill of I'm gonna keep on using the 3-4-3. I'm gonna keep on using subbing two of my center backs off in the 60th minute, right? He subbed off Lenny Yoro, who was actually having not a great game because it was 2-0 up at that point, and it wasn't great. But he chose to sub Yoro off when Shaw was a direct fault for those 2 goals. And then what happens? The 3rd goal, Shaw misplaces a pass. Holland goes out in a 1-on-1, and rest is footballing history at this point. Rest is just another. Well, the long streak of defeats continues pretty much, right? Like we won against Man City last time out, last year. Doesn't matter. It does not matter because performances are not getting better, right? The system is not really showing. I seen a statistic that shows that he's won 8 out of 31 games in the Prem since he's joined. That is just an abysmal record, right? It's an abysmal record, and he does not seem to show any sort of remorse to this club, right? He doesn't want to choose an actual number 8 to play in that spot, right? He keeps on going Bruno as a deep lying playmaker. That's not going to work out. Ugarte actually played really well. I would say he was probably our best performer, right? But there were just some glaring holes in that midfield. I mean, they could just overrun it, do whatever they want, and it's not even like City played really well. They didn't play that well, right? Like they played decently well, but not much better than any other top 6, top 7 side would, right? I mean, I feel like we probably could have gotten the same result against Newcastle, even though Aston Villa have been shit this season, probably even Aston Villa, right? It wasn't even a thing of because there's been other games you watch of cities and you go all right, what am I going to do against them? It's like they're going to have 70% of the possession, they're going to pass it around and just get you dizzy with their possession, right? That wasn't even the case. City were on their game, but they weren't playing out of this world, right? And 3-0. That's what happens in the end. Shaw had probably his worst game I've ever seen for us, honestly. especially because say he was playing as a left back, that'll be still a huge issue, but a little bit less of an issue. But as a center back in a three center back partnership, it's not going to work out, man. And what happened? We went down 3-0, and it's just the subs. The subs really kind of destroy your faith in this coach, right? Because you could talk about the system and be like, all right, give the system some time. Like it's going to work out at some point. It's a bit of a abstract, whatever. And maybe even though the players have had almost a year now to kind of get used to it, and they don't seem to get used to it, whatever, it's just a system. People could get over it. But it's not even just that, right? It's subs that just don't look good. It's just a lot of bad things, honestly. It's a lot of bad things for this football club at the moment. And there does not seem to be much of a way back. I mean, there's not many available coaches in the market. And we might just be stuck with Amorim for the rest of the year, unless we choose to fire him again and kind of repeat the same cycle. And it's just like, who do we even hire? Zidane's probably going to go to the French national team. There's not many coaches out in the market. It was actually a big summer for coaches, and big summer for coaches last time out as well. We didn't get any of them. We got Amorim, a guy who staked most of his reputation on a 3-4-3 abstract formation that seemed to work out at Sporting, right? Worked really well. I've seen some Portuguese fans say that a lot of it was because of Gyökeres, and Gyökeres just kind of carried him. I don't know much about it. I didn't watch much of Sporting back then, so I can't really pronounce myself. What I can pronounce myself on is I've been watching this tactic game in and game out for the past year, pretty much 1 year now, right? And it's only gotten us eight wins in the Prem, against 4 of them or 5 of them were against newly promoted sides. And even those wins, they were not great wins, you know what I mean? They were like the win against Burnley, where we got lucky with a pen at the end of the end of the game. It's looking quite bad. Anyway, it's a Man United fan channel, but it's not a Man United fan channel. This is more of I'm trying to have it more of a football thing, right? It was the Manchester derby, and I was really looking forward to it, and I was left really disappointed. And I think at this point I'm finally Amorim out. But I'll get back to it anyway. Inter versus Juventus, that was a really good game. That's one of those games you watch and you go like, that's exactly what I watch football for, right? Like a bunch of outside the box shots, 2 teams just going at each other. It was like a systematic breakdown on both teams. It was really a really good game. I think Barella and Martinez didn't play so well, right? They got subbed off in the 60th minute. I know Barella is probably my favorite player in the whole world, right? But both at Inter and the Italian national team, they're heavily relying on this guy. I mean, he's pretty much the guy for both those teams, and it shows that he's a bit tired. I mean, it kind of gives me vibes of like Gavi in like 2019. Just doesn't look good for that. Doesn't look good for that. They did have some good things about him, though. I will say about Inter, right? It's still a formation that's been tried and tested and whatever for the past 4 or 5 years. I don't even know. It's an old team that's been playing together for a while now, and they have the chemistry. The passes work out. It's just they're a bit rigid. They're a bit rigid in possession, and it might work out for them at some point. I just feel like they need to do some like small tweaks, right? Like I actually wrote a bit of an analysis of that game and the game before against Udinese. I think the 3-man midfield has been working out for a while, but then there are some cracks in it, and that's probably why they haven't won a Champions League, right? I feel like Mkhitaryan, Çalhanoğlu, and Barella, neither of those guys have great defensively. Barella is probably the best out of all 3 of them, but Barella is just a phenomenal player. And then Çalhanoğlu and Mkhitaryan, they're especially Mkhitaryan, they're really bad defensively, right? It's almost the same problem as the Man United thing. You get caught on like out of possession, and then you have like a bunch of lines that don't work out, and it's like what do you get to do? It's like you get like a big midfield line and the big defensive line, and there's a big gap in between the 2 of those. And a team that's a bit faster, that's a bit good in transition and stuff, they'll really take advantage of that. And Juventus managed to do that a little bit. They scored 4 past them, so maybe a bit more than a little bit. Mehmet Yildiz, man, or whatever his name is, number 10, Juventus, Turkish guy. That might just be the next big number 10 coming out of Italy. I'm absolutely in love with him. I gotta say, I didn't watch much Serie A last season, like a few games. Definitely didn't watch much Juventus. He's looking really good, though. I gotta say, really good. Almost like a Del Piero regen, almost like made for the modern game. A bit faster on the ball as well, but still a great shot on him. Really good technique. maybe not as good as Del Piero's, but really good. So I actually have really high hopes for that dude. I'm very glad I got to watch him in a good game of his. I thought. I mean, especially a good first half. Second half, he got a bit lost. Maybe Inter got a bit more on their like defensive duties and stuff. But it was a good game nonetheless. I actually watched the Real Madrid games as well. They had a big red card, I think, in the 40th minute or something like that, and it was not a great call. I'll say, not a great call. You could maybe argue that it was a red card. I just don't think so. Right? It was like a last man type of situation, but it wasn't actually a last man thing. Well, the result was they got left in 10 men, and without Bellingham and without other players, Trent didn't even start for them. It was actually Carvajal who had like a great game. I actually talked about this with one of my friends. Carvajal is probably one of the best right backs of all time, right? Like in my opinion, he's like a top 3 right back of all time. So even though Trent went there, I think it's more of a, competing against each other, pushing each other to be better type situation there, which I like. But Real Madrid in the end, they showed some real resilience and kind of scooting past Sociedad there. It was not a great game. It was not like a typical Real Madrid, will attack and will control the game and whatever. It wasn't that, but they managed to get past them. Mbappe is looking like one of the best, top 2 strikers in the world. But that's not really a surprise. Still probably choose Holland, and you know what? I mean, Holland absolutely smoked us yesterday, and there it is. Arsenal completely dominant against who they play against. Forget who they play against. Arsenal were completely dominant though. Arsenal played really, really well. And Odegaard got injured. We already know Saliba's injured. Saka's injured. So it's not, these guys have a lot of injuries right now to deal with. They were using a bit of an experimental lineup as well with Zubimendi and Eze on the left and Madueke on the right. Madueke, man. I've seen Arsenal fans like try and clown him before they actually got him. And Madueke is just looking like the second coming of, I don't even know, second coming of Saka, I guess, or maybe more than that. Man, he was just getting past the left back just all the game, just every single highlight, just like, step overs, whatever you wanted, just like sprinting past him. He was looking like prime Ronaldinho, honestly. Madueke looked incredible that game, and he's a big reason why they won. Even though he didn't score, he might have assisted. I'm not sure, but it was just like he was such a dangerous presence there. Like they could never actually. Let me actually check what they. I watched the game. I promise. I just forgot the opposition there. They actually played against. Who did they play against? Yeah, so Arsenal played against Nottingham Forest, right? Oh, that was actually Angie's first game in charge, and typical Angie's fashion, defense wasn't great. Listen, you can't really judge this man based on like his first game. We're still kind of holding off, or at least I'm not, but a lot of people seem to be still holding off judgment on Amorim, just like 1 year, 31 league games in, and they're still like he needs more time, 200 mils in signings, but neither here nor there. I'm not gonna keep on talking about Amorim. Man, I was a big fan of this guy. I was actually a big fan of this guy, and he keeps on disappointing me, right? He doesn't even seem to be trying anymore, which is really sad. And Chelsea tripped over Brentford, and that's too bad because that was actually looking like a really good game for Chelsea. Cole Palmer came in maybe 70 minutes into the game, was dealing with an injury, so. But man, Chelsea tripping over Brentford. Too bad for them, honestly. It's just like I'm definitely not a Chelsea fan. I'm definitely not an Arsenal fan. I'm not a fan, right? It's just I really don't want to see Liverpool winning the league again. So it's almost like when I watch these teams like Arsenal, Chelsea, I'm almost like kind of hoping for them to win it just so Liverpool don't get it. And Liverpool, 4 games in, they haven't lost a single one. They managed to, get bailed out again in the 90th minute by a stupid penalty. By our own Hannibal, I mean that was almost like just the stupidest highlight. And Liverpool weren't playing great. Honestly, I haven't seen a single game of Liverpool's this season where I was like, oh, that's looking like a really good team. I seen a game like that from Arsenal. I seen a game like that from Chelsea. Liverpool just seemed to be just grinding them out. You know what I mean? And just getting like a 90th minute goal. I'm not against it. Obviously, I'm a Man United fan. Fergie time, I get it. But it's just like we were also looking good in the 90 minutes beforehand. You know what I mean? Liverpool's not looking great. Versus is not looking great still. Isak didn't play, obviously. What's been happening, he's probably had like the most mediocre games I've seen of Salah since he's joined Liverpool. And you know what? He's 33. He's definitely lost a step. And that's just what happens, man, with a winger that, is heavily reliant on his explosiveness. And I know he's a good playmaker. I know he's a good shooter. But a player that relies that heavily on like kind of beating his opponent or whatever, he's gonna be losing on some confidence if he can't do that anymore. And if he can't, then all of a sudden the passes don't really do the same things they used to. And you take like 50% of his threat away. It's like, the opponents kind of know what to expect, because otherwise, like last year or 2 years ago, you'd be expecting Salah to like, push the ball past the opponent, maybe curve the ball inside for a shot or maybe a pass, whatever. Now it's like Salah gets the ball, you almost don't expect him to dribble anymore, right? I know he's a very efficient player, obviously scored again from a pen, merchant. But what are you going to do about it? Anyway, going back to Man United over Man City. It's a real shame, man. It's a real shame. And we got Chelsea next week, and that's a pretty hard one, honestly. If you ask me, Chelsea's looked much better than Man City this season, and I actually think that's probably going to be the tougher game. It's going to be at Old Trafford, fair. And Cole Palmer's coming back, obviously. Cole Palmer's already come back. And they just drew against Brentford, so they're going to be hungry for a dub. And you know what? The way things are looking right now, I'd probably say getting a win over Man United is probably slightly easier than getting one over Brentford. Because at least Brentford could probably play on the counter-attack. What can we actually do that's better than most teams in the Prem? And I'm trying to think about that, and then I can't really say much. We have a crazy amount of like really valuable players, right? We just bought Šeško for 80 mil. What did Šeško do this game? Not much. Because he's not getting much service. I mean, Højlund just left, went to Napoli, scored in the first game he played. And why? Because he gets service. He gets service, man, and we don't have much service in the squad. Because it's the same old trying to fit a square in a round peg hole, whatever type thing. You know what I mean? You put Bruno as a number 8. You do not play Melu. It almost seems like a thing he's doing just so he doesn't go back on his decision, right? So he doesn't admit his mistakes or whatever else. I'm not in love with how the team's looking, man. I'm really not. Well, anyway, that's it for us. That's it for the footy hangover. It wasn't a great weekend for me. I was really hoping Man United would win. I was really hoping Liverpool might draw or lose. Neither of those happened. In fact, we got humiliated by Man City. So on we go. The next we got Champions League games the next 3 days. That's gonna be exciting. Not for me. We might do some friendlies, right? Some very lucrative friendlies, as he called it. We might do some of that. So we'll see how it goes next weekend. I'll probably be back here on Monday, just like I'm probably always be. So I'll talk to you guys later.